I've got Danielle Watson and her fabulous son Mian in the studio. I think Mian's going to take my job. You're a bit good at this radio malarkey, Mian. Seriously. And we're talking about diabetes because Mian is type 1 diabetic, and we've been chatting all about our charity of the week, of course, Diabetes Isle of Man this week on 1 to 3. I did allude to the fact that you two had done something very important recently. Mian, you went in to speak to all the MHKs in government, didn't you?
Yes, I
Tell
did.
us about it.
So, on World Diabetes Day, Tuesday 14th of November, we went to the Wedding Cake Building, or Tynwald, to speak to the honourable members to basically raise awareness and talk about how this new technology that I'm on and how life as a type 1 diabetic is. But it was a really good turnout. A lot of people came. They all enjoyed it. They all seemed to not fully understand how crucial this is. And a lot of them didn't realise how impactful it is in our lives.
So do you feel like they learned something, Mian?
Yeah, they all came up at the end, and they were all expressing how they weren't aware of it in the past and how they all want to do something to help those children who have type 1 diabetes and are in situations where they're struggling with it or they just need overall support. And it was just good so that we could get awareness out to people.
Danielle, you must have been so proud of him.
Yeah, extremely proud, to the point where after he'd done his little speech and I was asked a question, I just couldn't talk. Completely choked. Choked with how proud I was of how eloquently he put the story across of his journey with the tech as well. But also it was nice and it was a relief for me to know that people that can make a change were hearing the story firsthand, and seemed very receptive and open to discussing what do the children need, what support do you need, which such a relief having been there and having been on the receiving end and the benefit of having the technology and seeing how far it's come in the last 9 years, that if we can do anything at all to help support those newly diagnosed, and like mine says, those also struggling who maybe need more help or they need the tech sooner, anything that we can do to help them, we're massive supporters of that because we've been there.
And what would you actually like government to do then? What would be your ideal?
Seeing how this tech works for Mian and what a support it is for him and for the wider family, that's got to be the gold standard. Having this closed loop system that can take the pressure off not only the diagnosed but their carers and their support system as well. It's invaluable. It's costly. We understand that everything has a cost associated with it. But the health of these children, if we can make sure that the children are well cared for when they transition through to the adult clinics in their older years, 16 and on, they won't bring with them their body won't have been under the stress that would cause neuropathy, issues with their eyes, which I know Sam and Natasha are championing for at the moment, is more awareness and the clinic for the eye health, which is super important. But yeah, the children that are coming through, if they can have this wonderful technology to keep themselves in their target range for as long as possible, they're not going to develop these problems when they get to that age.
Well, speaking of the children, we've had a message in. It says, I'd like to say well done to all the kids on the Isle of Man who are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. You are all brave warriors. Also, their parents, caregivers and families. You all do an amazing job and you're never on your own, even when it feels like you are. I'm proud of you, Mian and Danielle, from Dad.
Aww.
So I just thought I'd draw that. And what advice would you have, Mian, for someone who's maybe just starting out on their diabetes journey?
I would definitely have to say it's never easy and it will never be easy. Even with this new tech, it's hard at times. Like when you have these hypos and highs, you still feel it. You still know what it's like. So it can be tough, but there is always an end to it, whether that be this new system which takes away 99.9% of the stress and how much you have to put into it. If that is the case, then that's definitely what I would have to say.
See, I said he was a remarkable young man.
Yeah.
There you go. And you've got a rainbow outside. Mr. Positive. It has been enlightening and also a real joy speaking to you both today. Thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you to school for letting you out for this amount of time as well.
Thank you.
All the very best with your journey and
Thank
especially
you.
with the
Thank you.
campaign.